Today's lecture, let us talk about focal length of spherical mirrors. See, this focal length is the characteristic of the lens and mirrors. Okay, the type of the lens, the property of the lens, whether it produces a real image or virtual image, it may be its magnification. Everything is decided by this particular term by the name called focal length. Therefore, we call the focal length as the characteristic of an lens. Okay, so it may be mirror or it may be lens. So we are first we have to study this term by the name called focal length. So what is meant by focal length? Okay, so you have some brief idea. So you have some rough idea of this focus and focal length in your lower class. Okay, let me just remind you what is meant by principal focus and focal length. As our discussion is on mirrors, so let me take the focal length of the spherical mirrors. Okay, so in the last lecture, see, we studied that there are two type of lenses. One is convex and second is the concave. Okay, so this is concave mirror. In spherical mirrors, we have two types here. We have also studied the sign convention here. So this is an concave mirror whose outer side is coated with silver. So it has got some center of curvature, and the geometrical center of this is called pole, and the line which passes through the center of curvature and the pole is called the principal axis. Similarly, if you take the concave mirror, so this is your concave mirror where the inner side is the coated is, it has got some coating here. So mainly we use the silver coating which has the good reflection property. So this is concave mirror, this is convex mirror. See, what is meant by focal length? To study the focal length, so first we have to introduce the first physical term by the name called principal focus. What is meant by principal focus here? Principal focus means when a parallel beam of light, okay, so the beams which are parallel to the principal axis. So when this parallel beam of light, if they are very near to the principal axis, if they make some small angles with the principal axis, we also call it as paraxial rays here. So when the parallel beam of light is incident on concave mirror, okay, the property says that after each reflection, okay, so the mirror has the property of reflection, therefore this particular ray gets reflected. After each reflection, I can see here, this every parallel beam of light is going to converge. Okay, you can see here this parallel beam of light, they are going to converge, they all are going to converge one point on the principal axis. Okay, you can take any number of rays here, any number of parallel rays. The reflection take place. After reflection, they are going to converge. Okay, they are going to converge a particular point on the principal axis. That point is called focus. Better we have to call it as principal focus. Why is principal focus? Because this point is on the principal axis. This is called principal focus. Are you getting me? Okay. Now see why this each parallel beam is going to converge at point. It can be explained by using the laws of reflection. If I take the normal here, what is normal? Normal is nothing but the line which is perpendicular to the surface is called normal. You can see that the angle of incidence. What is the law of reflection? The first law says that your incident ray, reflected ray and the normal must lie on the same plane, and second law says that your angle of incidence should be equal to angle of reflection. If I make the angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection, you can see that, okay, this particular ray of light is going to fall on this particular point on the principal axis. If you take this second one, you can see this, okay, if you come near to the principal axis, this angle decreases. As the angle of incidence decreases, the angle of reflection also decreases, but they are equal, so they converge here. Okay, if you perfectly draw by using some geometrical box here, okay, if you take certain angles, if you, okay, if you draw the lines which are the equidistance from each other, Okay, if you take certain standard angles, then you can see that now these rays are going to converge a point on the principal axis. That point is called principal focus. Okay, so this is very important term. This is called principal focus. We use the symbol capital F to represent principal focus. Okay, and what is meant by focal length? Focal length means, so the Cartesian sign convention says that all distances are measured from the pole. So what is pole? Pole is nothing but the geometrical center. Pole is nothing but the geometrical center, the curvature. Now this is pole here. So this is focus. Okay, the distance between the pole and the principal focus is called the focal length. And this term is called the focal length. So what is focal length? Focal length is the distance between, so the focal length is the distance between is the distance between principal focus, okay, or it may be the focus also, the principal focus and the pole. Okay, it's the distance between principal focus and the pole. Okay, and what is meant by principal focus? Principal focus means when a parallel beam of light is incident on a concave mirror, after reflection it is going to converge one point on the principal axis. Now that point is called principal focus, and the distance between the principal focus and the pole is called focal length. Okay, now it is represented by the symbol. The focal length is represented by the symbol small f. Okay, we are using the symbol small f for the length, focal length. Okay, if you take the case of a convex mirror, okay, you can see that now. See, okay, so the reflection take place, so what it is towards the center here. The reason, okay, so we are going to study when we take the topic prism. In prism topic, you come to know that when when the light incident on the prism, it always bend towards the base of the prism. By using that property, definitely I can explain why this reflection takes place towards this particular position. It is not going in the upper direction. Okay. Now similarly, okay, if you put the parallel beam of light, on the convex mirror, you can see here. So when the parallel beam of light is incident on the convex mirror, again the reflection take place. Okay, so this time it moves in the some upward direction like this. Okay, the reason, definitely we are going to study when we take the topic prism here. So now this after reflection, this rays of light is going to diverge. What is meant by converge? Converge means, okay, so all are moving towards a particular point here. Now that is called converging. Okay, so all are coming towards a particular point, that is called converging. What is diverging? Diverge, diversion, diverge. Diverge means they are moving away from each other. Okay, so what happens here when a parallel beam of light is incident on a convex mirror? Okay, so after reflection, what we observe is that each parallel beam of light is going to diverge. Okay, now this each parallel beam of light is going to diverge from a particular point. Okay, so it appears not actually, it is diverging. Okay, so this rays of light are diverging, but it appears that they are diverging from this particular, but in reality it is not diverging from this particular. It is not moving towards the other side. It appears to be diverging from that particular point, and that point again we call it as principal focus. So what is principal focus in case of convex mirror? When a parallel beam of light is incident on convex mirror, after reflection, this parallel beam of light appears to diverge from a particular point. Appears to, not in reality. Okay, so they appears to diverge from this particular point, and that particular point is called principal focus. So in case of convex, now that appears, we are using the word appears there. Now it is a virtual case. But in case of concave mirror, when a parallel beam of light is incident on a concave mirror, after reflection, they converges. They are actually converges to a point. But in case of convex mirror, they appears to be diverge from that point. Now that point is called principal focus. If I define the principal focus in general, if I define the principal focus, then the definition of principal focus is like this. What is principal focus? Principal focus is defined as principal focus. Okay, so it is defined as, so when a parallel beam of light, when a parallel beam of light, when a parallel beam of light is incident on a spherical mirror. I am not using the word convex or concave, simply I am taking a general condition here, is incident on a spherical mirror after reflection. This is a phenomenon of reflection. After reflection, it converges to a point. It converges to a point, or converges to a point in case of concave mirror, or appears to diverge from a point. But actually converges to a point or appears to diverge from a point. Okay, so it is incident on spherical mirror. After reflection, it converges to a point or appears to diverge from a point in the principal axis. Okay, this point is called, what? This point is called principal focus. This point is called principal focus. And the distance between the principal focus, and the pole is called focal length. So what is focal length? Focal length is the distance between the principal focus and the pole is called focal length. Okay, so now this is about the focal length. Are you getting me? So this is nothing but the definition of focal length, and it is the most important. Okay, so the physical quantity in case of lens and mirror. Okay, we can characterize the nature, the behavior of the lens and mirror by using this quantity by the name called focal length. And this is a physical quantity. Now this is the physical quantity. Okay, so they are going to converge that. Okay, so now that point is called focal length. The geometrical quantities. What is this? Actually, this is a mirror. They are spherical mirrors are nothing but the part of the spherical surface. I can see here. Now they are nothing but a part here. These are the part of the spherical spheres, and spheres has got certain center. Now that is called center of the sphere. If you take the part of the sphere, that is called center of curvature, and the distance between center of curvature and the pole is nothing but, you can see here, this is nothing but what? This is nothing but the radius. A geometrical quantity, the radius here. Now similarly, now this is the radius. Okay, this is C, and this distance is nothing but the radius. Okay, our next discussion is about, we have to find the relation between the focal length and radius of curvature. Okay, so we have to find the relation between the focal length and radius of curvature. So because sometimes we can have the value of r, by using that r value we can find the value of f. Sometimes okay, so by using some of the physical experiments we can find the value of f focal length, and by using the quantity focal length, we can have the value of r. So therefore, we have to connect the relation between the focal length and radius of curvature. Okay, so we have to relate f and r here. So for this particular derivation, let me take the concave mirror. Okay, you can take convex also. So this is a concave mirror. Okay, so this is a particular point is called pole. Okay, now this is nothing but a part of a spherical lens. Okay, so spherical lens has got certain center here. Now this is called center of the spherical surface. Now it is curvature, therefore it's called center of curvature here. And the line which passes through the center of curvature and the pole is called, is nothing but it is called principal axis. This is a principal axis here. Okay, so on a parallel beam of light, on a parallel beam of light, let me take this is parallel beam of light, an incident on an concave mirror, after reflection it is going to converge, okay, some point on the principal axis, and that point is called principal focus, and the distance between principal focus, okay, the distance between principal focus and the pole is called focal length. Now this term is called the focal length, okay, and the distance between the center of curvature, and the pole is called the radius of curvature, and we have to find the relation between f and r. Okay, so see, if it is a reflection, it should obey the laws of reflection. First of all, we say that it should obey the laws of reflection. The laws of reflection says that the incident ray, reflected ray, and normal must lie on the same plane. Okay, so if you take the plane mirror example, now this is a plane mirror. This is a plane mirror here. So the line which is perpendicular to the surface is called normal. Okay, now this is the normal here. So you can see here, now this is incident ray, this is a reflected ray, this is angle of incidence, and this is angle of reflection in case of plane mirrors. Okay, and what does the law of reflection says that your angle of incidence should be equal to angle of reflection. Okay, so what is normal? Normal is nothing but it is the imaginary line which is perpendicular to the surface. In case of plane mirrors, you can easily represent the normal here. So this is 90 degree. So this dotted line is said to be a normal line. Okay, but if we take in case of spheres, who is normal here? What is normal? The line which is perpendicular to surface is called normal. Okay, you can see here, now this, if you take the entire shape here, the entire shape is definitely a spherical one. But if you take the part of the sphere, okay, so now see here, now this is C is the center and R is nothing but the radius. Okay, so if you take some part of the sphere here, if you take a small part of the sphere, you can see here, now this part, if you take the part of the sphere, then this part of the sphere and the radius, if you look at the radius, they are having an angle of 90 degree. Okay, is it correct? If you take a radius, okay, now this is a radius, and if you take the part of the sphere, if I take this part of the sphere, then you can see here this part of the sphere and the radius are what? They are perpendicular. So therefore, in case of the sphere, who is considered to be a normal to the surface is nothing but the radius, because the radius is perpendicular to the surface, therefore the radius is considered to be a normal. Okay, now you can see here, now this is an incident ray, this is incident ray, and if I call this point as the point of incidence, let me call this point as M. M is the point of incidence, and C is the center. If I take some line here, if I draw some imaginary line which passes through the center of the curvature and M, and this line is nothing but, definitely this line is nothing but a normal. Are you getting me? Because now this is a radius, and if you take this particular surface here, now this is part of the surface here, you can see here, this part of the surface and this dotted line are almost perpendicular. Therefore, this dotted line is considered to be an normal. Is it correct? So, the first law of reflection says that your incident ray, your reflected ray, and normal must lie on the same plane. Okay, and the second law says that your angle of incidence should be equal to angle of reflection. Okay, so your angle of incidence should be equal to angle of reflection. If I take this as angle of incidence, okay, this angle should be equal to angle of reflection. Okay, I'm not going to write I and R here because we know that I is equal to R. The law says that your angle of incidence should be equal to angle of reflection. Let me say that. Okay, if this is a law of reflection, it should satisfy your angle of incidence should be equal to angle of reflection. Let me say some theta, some 10 degree and 10 degree like this. Okay, so therefore let me take this angle as theta. So this angle is angle of incidence, this angle of reflection, they should be equal. So this angle becomes theta and theta. Okay, so our main intention is to find the relation between F and R. So as I said that it is a ray optics, it is a geometrical optics. We are using certain geometry to find the relation between F and R. Okay, see here, if this angle is theta, what about this angle? You can see here. Okay, so if you take this particular angle, okay, if this angle is theta, what about this angle? The basic properties of corresponding angle, alternating angles, you know that the opposite angles. Okay, you can see here, if this angle is theta, what about this angle? This angle is also an theta. Is it correct? Okay, so look at here, these two are the parallel rays here, and this is the line. If this angle is theta, this angle also becomes theta. Similarly, if I take this total angle, you can see here the theta and theta, this angle is 2 theta. You can see here again this line and this line are parallel to each other. That means what? This angle should be equal to this angle. Okay, if this angle is 2 theta, whatever this angle also becomes 2 theta. Okay, is it correct? Okay, so we have to find the relation between F and R. Now you can see here, so it looks like somewhat triangle here. If I make some geometrical construction, a small geometrical construction here. Okay, let me draw one line. Again, it's an imaginary line which is perpendicular to the principal axis. Okay, let me assume that. Okay, so it is intersecting at this point on the principal axis. Let me take this point as N. Let me assume that N and P they are very near. Okay, so see, for the sake of derivation, we are taking this large part of the mirror. Okay, this is not the actual size of the mirrors. The mirrors are very small in size here. Okay, so if I take the mirror, now this is a small in size. If I draw all these rays here, definitely you can't give the clear picture about the angles and other readings here. For that one, we are resolving this particular picture here. Therefore, this N and P are they are very near. Okay, so therefore you can say that Fn is nothing but Fp like this. They are very close. So look at here. So you can see here, there are two triangles here, right angle triangle. One is CMN and second is FMN. So let me start from the triangle. From right angle triangle, if I take this triangle, MCN, if I take the triangle MCN, then tan theta is equal to, so that is the geometrical optics. Okay, we take the help of the geometry, trigonometry to study the parameters in the ray optics here, therefore it is called geometrical optics also. If you take the tan theta, MCN, if you take the triangle MCN, then tan theta is equal to, what is tan theta? The opposite side, MN by the adjacent side. This is MN by CN. MN by CN. MN by CN. Is it correct? Okay, or you can also write it as, it can be also written as MP by CP. Why MP by CP? As I already said that this point N is very close to P. Okay, now this distance is negligible. If you take the CP as some 100 centimeters, then what is CN? CN is nothing but some 99.9 centimeter, like that. Okay, the difference is very small, therefore you can write MP by CP also. Okay, similarly, if you take the triangle, from triangle, if I take this particular triangle, MFN, MFN, then tan of 2 theta is equal to, tan of 2 theta is equal to, okay, tan of theta, opposite side is MN by adjacent side is FN, MN by FN. As N and P are very close, you can also written as MP by, okay, so this is MP by FP. So call it as some equation number 1. Let me call it as some equation number 2. Okay, so next assumption is that, so as I already said that, okay, so this is not the actual size of the mirrors. The mirrors are very small in size. So this is the actual size of this mirrors here, concave mirror. If you draw this paraxial rays here, you can see here, now this is an paraxial rays. What is paraxial rays? The rays which are parallel and they are very close to the principal axis. Paraxial rays means these are the parallel rays, parallel to the principal axis, as well as they are very close to the principal axis. They are called the paraxial rays. Okay, so if you take the paraxial rays, if you draw these angles here, okay, and you can see here, these angles are very small. They are not like 30 degree and 40 degree. Okay, if you take the actual picture here, there's something around 1 and 2 degree or 5 degree like this. So these angles are very small. If I take the paraxial rays, the theta, the angles are very small. These angles are very small. If angles are very small, we know that if the angles are very small, you can say that the tan theta is approximately equal to theta. Now, this is a property I'm taking from the geometry. If the angles are very small, then you can see that sin theta equal to theta and tan theta is equal to theta, approximately equal to theta, not exactly. They are approximately equal to theta. Sin theta is equal to theta, tan theta equal to theta, and cos theta is equal to 0. Okay, so you can have this readings also. If theta is 0, tan theta is also 0. Therefore, you can say that tan theta equal to theta. Now, this condition is okay. Now, this condition is satisfied only when theta is small. Okay, if theta is small, then you can say that tan theta is equal to, approximately equal to theta. Similarly, you can say that tan of 2 theta is approximately equal to 2 theta. Okay, that function is negligible. Your function tan theta becomes theta only. The condition is that the theta should be very small. Okay, so in that case, your equation 1 becomes theta can be written as MP by CP. Okay, and your equation 2 becomes tan 2 theta is equal to 2 theta. It can be written as MP by FP. Okay, so therefore this becomes MP by CP and this becomes MP by FP. Okay, is it correct? So now see here, if you relate the equation 3 and 4, okay, so if you relate the equation 3 and 4, see for equation 3, let me multiply 2 on both sides of the equation. If I multiply 2 on both sides of the equation, then become 2 theta is equal to 2 MP by CP. Then I can equate equation 3 and equation 4. You can see that the left hand side of the both equations are same. Therefore, I can say that 2 MP by CP is equal to MP by FP. You can write like this: 2MP by CP is equal to MP by FP. You can see that this MP get cancelled. Okay, so therefore I can write FP is equal to, if I equate like this, FP is equal to, you can write CP by 2. FP is equal to CP by 2. Now see here, what is meant by FP? F is the principal focus, P is the pole, and the distance between the principal focus and pole is nothing but focal length. So this is nothing but your F, focal length, is equal to CP by 2. What is CP by 2? Center to the pole is nothing but R. It is nothing but radius of curvature is R by 2. Now this is a very fine relation between focal length and radius of curvature. Therefore you can say that the focal length is what? Half of the radius of curvature. Okay, focal length is half of the radius of curvature. If it is a mirror has got certain radius of curvature as 10 centimeter, definitely you can say that its focal length is said to be the 5 centimeter. Now this is the first very important quantity in case of the spherical mirrors here. Our next discussion is about, again we have to find the fine relation between the other quantities: objective distance, image distance, and focal length. If we get all these relations, definitely we can go for the clear, okay, the study of mirrors, why this images takes place, why they are real, why they are virtual, and how they are used in case of optical instrument. For that we require mirror equation. So what is meant by mirror equation? So now we will study how this formation of image take place. Okay, by using the ray diagram. See, there are two methods here. One, by using the mirror formula, you can directly find the position of the image when you know the position of the object and the focal length. And second method is by using the ray diagram. Okay, so you can make certain geometrical construction to get the position of the image here. For that one, see, there are different methods are there. Let me tell you one simplest method here. So if you take this as an concave mirror, so this is a concave mirror, you know that this is the geometrical center of this concave mirror. It is called pole, and you have this quantity F, and this one is C. If my diagram is correct, then F is equal to R by 2. Okay, so if this distance is 20 centimeter, this distance should be 10 centimeters, because F is equal to, in the last lecture we have derived the relation between okay, so this is the relation between F and R, that is nothing but F is equal to R by 2. So now see here, so how will you get an image here? Now this is very simple. For an example, if your object is that, say let me assume that, so this is the object. In ray optics we take the simply object as a straight line. Okay, so we take this end as A, this end as B, we call this end as head, and this end as tail here. So this is the object. You want to get the position of the image, the nature of the image, then very simple. Point number 1, so you have to take 2 rays from the head and 1 ray from the tail. You have to take 2 rays from the head. In that first ray should be parallel to the principal axis. You have to take the 2 rays from the head. In that, the first ray is parallel to the principal axis. As you know that when the rays are parallel, after reflection, what happens? They passes through the principal focus. So this is your first ray diagram. Okay, is it correct? Second one, again you should start from the head and it passes through the C. So what is C? C is nothing but the center of curvature, and you know that. So C to this one, this is nothing but radius, and this radius is perpendicular to the surface. Therefore, this particular line is nothing but normal. Okay, so when light passes through the normal, then the angle of incidence is 0. As the angle of incidence is 0, the angle of reflection is also 0. Therefore, light retraces its path. it goes back to its original direction. That means if you start from A, it passes through C, it falls on the concave mirror, you can see here, and it get reflected back as I is equal to 0, R is equal to 0. And third one, it starts from B, okay, so it passes through C, it passes through P, again it become a normal, again it get reflected back here. Okay, for the formation of the image, these three rays are enough. But in practical, okay, each point on AB serves like an object here, point object here. The second ray starts from this particular point here. It falls on this concave mirror. It gets reflected back somewhere. Okay, it is going to stay. Now, similarly, it start from C. It passes through the principal axis, and these two rays are going to intersect here. Similarly, if we take the third ray from this particular point, okay, it falls on the concave mirror. It goes to the, okay, it passes through the F. The second one passes through C, and it gets reflected like this. Okay, if we draw the large number of points here, okay, you will get. So this is A. Let me call it as A dash, and this is B dash. Your A, the rays coming from the A, they intersect at A dash, and the rays which are coming from the B, they are intersecting at B dash. Similarly, if there is some point C is there, the rays which are coming from this C, they are intersecting at some C dash here. If some D, they are so they are all intersecting at this particular point here. And this A dash and B dash is called image because it looks like AB only. Okay, it look like AB, but it is not AB. AB is the object, and this A dash and B dash is called image. Okay, so this is the simplest example for the formation of image here. So if this is the position of the object, this is the position of the image. Okay, so you can see here. So when your object is beyond C, your image is between F and C here. You can see here if your object is erect, but your image is inverted, and this image is called real image. So there are two types of images are there. One is called real and second is called virtual. What is meant by real image? Real image means, see here, actually image is formed here. Image is formed due to the intersection of rays. Actually, okay, if you look at the energy there, definitely you will get some amount of light energy. Okay, if the rays are actually intersecting, then okay, you can see the image and you can also obtain the image on the screen. Such kind of images are called real image. In some cases, you will going to study in case of okay convex mirror and concave mirror. For an example, this is P here. Okay, if this is F here, this here. If object is in between F and P, then what happens? Now here, the first ray starts from the principal axis, it passes through the principal focus. Second one, it starts from again A, it passes through the C. You can see here these two rays never intersect. These two rays are never intersect. But for an eye, for the normal eye, what happens? So okay, so normal eye judges that these two rays are coming from this particular point here. They're actually intersecting at this particular point here, but actually the rays are not intersecting there. They never intersect. But for a normal eye, it appears that these two rays are coming from this particular point, and we observe that. Now we say that this is said to be an image here. Now such kind of images are called virtual image. Virtual image means it is somewhat like an optical illusion. Okay, you are going to see the image there, but in reality there is no image. You can't obtain that image on the screen. But in case of real image, you can see the image as well as you can obtain the image also. You can have the image on the screen also. Okay, you can okay, you can see that image on your hand also. Okay, if you keep your hand at that particular position, then it is observable as well as you are getting the image on the screen or hand also. But in case of virtual image, okay, so you are observing some image there, but in reality, okay, you are not going to get any image there. Okay, so simply I can say that what is meant by virtual image? So the rays, they are not intersecting. It appears to diverge from that particular point. Now that images are called virtual image, and this is called a real image, and this one is called virtual image. So this is called Okay, inverted image, there may be second possibility. The image may be erect, that means it is okay upward towards the positive. Okay, so above the positive x-axis, then second possibility maybe it is downward, and next possibility is the magnification, the size. In some cases, now you can see here the size of the image is less than the size of the object. In some cases, the size of the image and the size of the object are same, and in some cases the size of the image is greater than size of the object. So this nature of the image, the size of the image, the magnification of the image, it all depends on the position of object and image. Therefore, let me take different cases to give the somewhat rough picture about this. Okay, so let me take some. Okay, so by using the ray diagram, so we can easily find the position of the image when we know the position of the object. At first condition, you can see that when object is at infinity, your object position is infinity. Infinity means, see, when an object is very far. For an example, sun is an infinite object for the okay. So for a person on the earth, the sun is considered to be an infinite object because the comparable to size of that particular person, for that particular object, the size of the distance of the sun from the earth is very large. No, that is considered to be an infinity. See, when object is at infinity, okay, now see here, when your object is at infinity, the rays become parallel. Okay, so we are going to study in case of wavefront theory, Huygens wavefront theory, where we clearly understand why this the wavefront becomes infinity, the parallel when object is at infinity. Okay, so when object is at infinity, your rays are parallel. The rays becomes parallel here. Okay, you can't show the object here because your object is at infinity. So we know that when a parallel beam of light is incident on concave mirror, so what happens after reflection? They are going to converge some point on the principal axis. That point is nothing but principal focus, and we know the relation between principal focus and radius of curvature. Now that is half of the radius of curvature. You can see that an object is at infinity. Okay, the rays coming from that particular object, they falls on the concave mirror. After reflection, they intersect at principal focus. So what is your position of the image? Definitely your position of the image is at principal focus. Okay, is it real image? Yes, it is a real image because the rays are actually converging. Okay, there is a converging of rays there. Therefore, actually the energy is intersecting. We can have some amount of energy at the principal focus. Therefore, it is real. It is a real. The inverted image. Okay, if you it is very diminished. Diminished means it is very small. Okay, if you look at the size of the image, it is somewhat like a point object. Almost it is considered to be a point. Therefore, it is a diminished and it is inverted. Okay, so let me go to the second example here. Beyond C. So what is the position? So one is at infinity and second is now it is near to the concave mirror, but still it is beyond C. Okay, so for an example, AB is the object here. A is considered to be an head, B is considered to be a tail. So you know that you have to take two rays from the head and one ray from the tail. Okay, so now these two are the rays. They are coming from head. One ray should be parallel to the principal axis. Okay, so now this is a parallel ray. So when parallel ray falls on the concave mirror, what happens after reflection? Again, it passes through the principal focus. So this is your first ray diagram. So it is parallel, it falls on the concave mirror, the reflection takes place and it passes through the principal focus. And second one, again the second ray is taken from the head. Again it starts from the head, this time it passes through the center of curvature, again it falls on the concave mirror. Okay, you know that this is nothing but the ray which is passing through the normal. It is the ray which passes through the radius, and the radius is perpendicular to the surface, therefore it is considered to be a normal. So in this case your I is 0, and law of reflection says that if your I is 0, then R is also 0. Okay, so I becomes 0 It falls on the mirror and it get reflected back. Your R is 0. So you can clearly see that. So this particular ray and this particular reflected ray both are coincident at this particular point. I call this point as A dash. Okay, if you take the large number of rays, same thing take place. Okay, so they come around. So this points here, and when you start from the B, it passes through the center. Again, it becomes a normal. Again, it returns back. If you take the large number of rays here, okay, if you take a second ray like this, so ray passes through the principal focus. Somewhere it intersect like this, and third ray it start from the again from this point. It intersect like this. If I draw all these points here, you will going to get what we call it as A dash and B dash. That is nothing but the image. Okay, so your one object is here beyond C. You will have your image between C and F. So your image is between principal focus and center of curvature. And how it look like? It is inverted. Your AB is direct. Now this is A here, but your A, the head comes okay down here. Therefore your A dash and B dash is an real image. Why it is real image? Because actually they are intersecting. The rays are intersecting. This is a real inverted, but it is diminished. If you look at the size of the image, now you can see here the size of the image is less than the size of the object. So your size of the image is less than the size of the object. Therefore it is a diminished one. Okay, let me go to the third case here at C. When your object is at center of curvature. Now what happens here? So at C, again, let me draw the ray diagram. So two rays from the head. First ray starts from the head. It is parallel to the principal axis. It falls on the concave mirror. After reflection, it passes through the principal focus. So this is your first ray. Okay. Again, the second ray starts from the head. It passes through the principal focus. Okay. And it falls on it. It goes like this. Is it correct? Okay. And the third ray, you can see here as the third ray. Okay. So the third ray starts from A and it passes through the center of curvature. If you look at this rays here, you can see here, this all rays are intersecting at this particular point here. So this is your A dash. Okay, and B, again you can see that it passes through the C. Okay, so again if you take the large number of rays here, the all sets of points are going to form between A dash and B dash. So your object, you can clearly see that when your object is at C, you will get image is also at C here. Your position of the object and position of the image becomes C when your object is at center of curvature. Okay. Again, if you look at the size here, okay, if you look at this size here, you can see here the size of the object and the size of the image is same. The size of the object and the size of the image is also same here. Therefore, I can say that the image is real, same size, and here it is inverted. Okay, so let me go to the next case here. Between F and C, your object is in between principal focus and center of curvature. So this time AB is between C and F here. Again, two rays from the head. One is parallel, falls on the concave mirror. After reflection, you can see here, it goes like this. Second one again starts from the head. It passes through the principal focus. It falls on it. Okay, so again it becomes parallel. You see here, anything which starts from the principal focus, it becomes parallel. Anything which is parallel, it falls on the principal focus. Now, because it is the okay, so it has the principle of reversibility. Okay, so A starts from here, it passes through the principal focus. Second one, it passes through the principal focus. Now, see here, you can clearly see that. Okay, so these two rays are, see, they are intersecting at this particular point here. Is it correct? Okay, I can show like this. Okay, I can have the one more ray diagram. Okay, I can take the one more ray diagram here. So if you take the one more ray, okay, if it starts from the A, it falls on like this. I can see here if I redraw, so this is nothing but the radius line. So therefore it get reflected, back and passes through the center of curvature. If my diagram is perfectly correct, again it is going to intersect at A dash only. Okay, so therefore this is A dash, and if you take the large number of points here, in between points, they fall in between A dash and B dash. Therefore your A dash and B dash is an image. Okay, so therefore if your object is between C and F, what is the position of the image? The position of the image is beyond C. The position of the image is beyond C. And how it look like? So again it is a real, because the rays are actually converging. It is a real. It is inverted, but interesting thing is this time it is enlarged. Okay, in the first two cases it is inverted. In the third case, the size of the image is same as that of the size of the object, but in the next case it becomes enlarged. So now these are the uses of the concave mirror. We can use for the magnification purpose. Your object is small, but you are getting an enlarged image. Okay, so in optical instrument we are going to use the property of mirrors here. Okay, therefore this the property like the real, inverted, okay, the size, it all depends on the position of the object. If the position of the object is in between C and F, you can see that, okay, you can see that it is beyond C and it is enlarged one. Next case, if I take at F, okay, so at F, so now see here, light has the property of reversibility. Light has the property of reversibility. What is meant by reversibility? If this is the direction of ray here, okay, some candle is there, okay, so or some object is there, and you are going to get image somewhere here. So this is the position of the object, this is the position of the image. If you change the position of the object to the position of the image, for an example, you are keeping the object here, automatically you will get the image at this position. So that property we call it as the property of reversibility. Light has the property of reversibility. When your object is at infinity, you will get image at F, at principal focus. Similarly, when object is at F, at principal focus, definitely you will get image at infinity. Okay, you can see here when your object is at F. Okay, so we are keeping the object at F. Again see here, so two rays from the head, one ray start from the head parallel to the principal axis. After reflection it passes through the principal focus. Second one start from, okay, you can see here it start from head. So next it get reflected back, because this is nothing but a normal, because this is a line which passes through the center of curvature and it's nothing but radius and it's perpendicular to the surface. So the light falls normally, therefore your I is 0. As I is 0, your R is also 0. It get reflected back, and you can see that these two rays are very close, okay, but still they are not meeting here. So this, okay, definitely at some positions they are going to meet, but no, that distance is very large, therefore we say that infinity. Yes, definitely they meet, you will get an image, but at a infinity. And what is the nature of the image? Definitely they meet, that means a real, still they are inverted, you can see here they meet somewhere here, but still it is in the downward direction, so it is inverted and it is highly enlarged, magnified, highly magnified. Okay, so therefore you are keeping the object at principal focus, you will get highly magnified image. Okay, so if you want to see, okay, so if the objects are not visible, not clearly visible, if you want to see them in a clear vision, okay, so then you have to keep the object at principal focus, and then definitely you will get an enlarged image. So let me go to the next case here. Now what happens? Now here our case number 1 is that object is at infinity. Next is the beyond C, then at C, between C and F, and is F. Now let me go to the next condition here. If it is between F and P, if it is between F and P, what happens when object is in between F and P here? Okay, so if you take the next case between F and P, okay, so this is the last case here. So if your object is in between F and P, now here, so your AB is the object. So this is the first line. Start from the head, parallel to the principal axis. It falls on the concave mirror. After reflection, it passes through the principal focus. Second one, start from the head. So it should passes through the center of curvature. So this is nothing but normal. So it falls on the concave mirror as it is normal. So your I is 0, automatically R also become 0. Okay, so you can see here these two rays are, they are actually diverging. They are diverging from each other. Therefore, they never intersect. Okay, if it goes on like this, now you can see here the distance between the rays are goes on increasing. Therefore, they never intersect. But if some person is standing here, okay, if we look at this, okay, so the rays here, then what it appears is, okay, you can see here, what we see is these two rays are coming from this particular point here. In reality, it is not true. Okay, these two rays are reflected from this particular point here. But if you, okay, due to an eye, so due to the optical illusion of an eye, if we look at these rays, then these rays are appears to, not actually, appears to coming from this particular point here. Therefore, for an eye, for the normal eye, okay, it look like this object has got some image in this particular position. Okay, so we are getting an enlarged image like that. So it is virtual. Why it is virtual? Actually, rays are not intersecting. Okay, there is no question of intersection of rays here. It is only an, it appears. Okay, therefore it is virtual, it is erect, and you can see that it is an enlarged image. So this is the position of the object actually used for magnification in case of mirrors. Okay, if we take the concave mirror, if we keep the object between F and P, definitely we will get an enlarged image of the object here. So this is about the concave mirror. So you can see that the concave mirror, it produces both real as well as the virtual. Okay, up to F it produces the real image, and between F and P it produces the virtual image. And you can see that real image is always inverted and the virtual image is always erect. Okay, so at some case it is diminished, at some case it is magnified. If we come to the case of convex mirror, now this is the convex mirror. Okay, so this side is quoted here. So there is no question of position of the mirror here. So at maximum cases, it always produces the virtual image, and it is behind the mirror also. Now here I have taken only two cases here. At infinity, when rays are coming from the infinity, you can see here this is the convex mirror. This is a part of the sphere. Therefore, your C and F are on the other side of the mirror. Okay, so when the parallel rays are incident on the convex mirror, so the definition of principal focus in case of convex mirror, when a parallel beam of light is incident on convex mirror, after reflection they appears, they are not converging from that particular point. We say that it appears to converge from that particular point here, and that point is called principal focus. So when this parallel beam of light is incident on the convex mirror, okay, so they get reflected back, and it appears to this. Okay, so see here, these rays are never intersecting, therefore we are not going to get any real image, but these two rays appears to come from this particular point here. Now that particular point is nothing but principal focus. Therefore, for the normal eye, okay, so it appears that the formation of image is at principal focus. Therefore, I can say that an object is at infinity, your image is at the focus, and it is behind the mirror. Okay, it is not in front of the mirror. Now here is also in case of concave mirror, when it is between F and P, your image is the behind. Okay, in the other cases, you are getting the image in front of the mirror, but in this case you are going to get image, it is behind the mirror. Okay, so here is also behind the mirror, it is highly diminished, somewhat it is point size, the same as that of your concave mirror. Okay, so it is highly diminished, somewhat about its point size. And second possibility is now other than infinity. If it is infinitely, then image will be at the principal focus and it is point size. Other than infinity, between P and F, whatever may be the position, okay, from infinity to P. Okay, so what happens? You can see here again. If I take some object here, AB is the object. The first ray start from the head and it is parallel rays. Okay, it get reflected, but it appears to come from the principal focus. Second one again start from the head. Okay, so it appears to passes through the center of curvature. It get reflected back as it is normal. Okay, so it is I is equal to 0, R is equal to 0. Therefore, these two rays never intersect, but they appears to come from this particular point here. Okay, so therefore, in this position, you are going to get an image, and that image is nothing but ray dash and B dash. So you can see that an object is in between infinity to P, your image is in between P and F. Okay, your image is in between P and F behind the mirror. It is diminished. Okay, it is virtual. Virtual means it is not intersecting and your image is erect. Therefore, the convex mirror, it always produces the virtual image. It always produces the erect image. Okay, so now this is about the the formation of image in case of spherical mirrors. In the next lecture, we are going to study the equation rating the object distance, image distance, and the focal length. And that formula is called mirror formula. Thank you for your kind attention.